when we apply, usually we can do an IPA if you are employed. So when I apply, then they can tell me that they are not so sure whether this is 100% amount. So it got me a bit worried lah.
Today we have Randall from Portnext to join us today to share with us the experience when he engaged a mortgage broker over at KeyQuest versus engaging a banker. What was his challenge about, and how we actually managed to help him overcome some of the challenge and to help him to secure his mortgage loan. So Randall, thank you for joining us today. I'm very happy that you can share out your experience and how was the process and a few things that we managed to overcome, because I understand that before coming to us, you actually talked to some banks already.
Correct.
Was that correct?
Correct. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank Kenneth for inviting me to actually share my views on how actually they add value to my own property purchase and also for my clients. So previously, initially when it started was that when I was looking for a package, right, I was looking around for many banks myself.
So what was your experience when you are talking to all these banks? Were they able to cater to your needs?
Initially, when I was looking for the different banks, the loan approval was very different. Like, because I'm a self-employed, so the package they approve my loans is actually very varied. So I was like thinking, if the experience is not exactly that easy, because like I was wanting to only understand the right package I need to choose. So after thinking through and discussing with my wife, we discussed to actually approach Kenneth to actually help us with our own loans itself.
Okay, so Randall, maybe you want to share with us that as a business owner, because as a property agent, you're running your own business and you're considered technically a self-employed. What was the few challenge you have when you're talking to the banks, or was there any obstacles you face?
Yeah, so one of the major obstacles is actually time, because the thing is that I can look for as many banks as I want, but the time spent to actually search for the banks actually is taking my focus away from helping my clients in their own property purchases. So that's why if you are self-employed and you are thinking to get a loan, actually usually you can actually compare all the banks yourself, but the time element is the most crucial part. I guess many self-employed are very thinking about lah.
Okay, so I also recall that there was a part whereby you mentioned to me, Kenneth, how come different banks actually grant me different loan amount? Correct. And you were so surprised that like Bank A give you X amount, say maybe 500k, but Bank B can give you 700k. This was one of the obstacles you were facing also, right?
Correct. One of the major obstacles, especially like the incomes, there's a haircut to the income and all that. That's why it's about how do I structure the income properly, which actually initially I didn't quite understand how to do it lah.
But did the bankers share with you like, how come you Bank A you only can get 500k, but Bank B you are able to get, example, 700k loan?
So actually one of the main points is actually that I do not know why the loan is actually approved at a certain way, and like I didn't get my maximum loan that I thought I could get. So that's why I'm not so sure.
So you don't. So basically, there was no explanation given to you that why Bank A is able to grant you, example, maybe 500k. Bank B was able to grant you 700k.
Correct.
Okay, so can I say this is one of your pain point that as a self-employed you are, the banks actually don't give you a definite answer on your loan amount.
Correct.
Am I right to say that?
Like when we apply, usually we can do an IPA if you are employed. So when I apply, then they can tell me that they are not so sure whether this is 100% amount. So it got me a bit worried into all that.
So are you saying that when you apply for in principle approval or approve in principle with the banks, they don't actually share with you whether, or maybe can I phrase it this way? They actually don't give you assurance that based on your income, this is the loan amount you are eligible for.
Correct. That's why it's a bit difficult to apply for buying a home and all that lah. That's why it's better that I understand fully before making the decision to buy whichever properties as well.
Okay. So I remember when we started talking, before you approached me, you have already secured your option to purchase, right?
Yes, correct. So that means I already secured a long option for my home.
Okay.
Then I approached Kenneth to actually help me with the loan itself.
Okay, so maybe you can share why do you need actually a longer option period?
Actually, for the purchase, right, is because of mainly timeline. Because I was selling my first property
Okay.
and transitioning to the second property.
So that means you have an existing property,
Correct.
which your intention is to sell off. So in this process, you wanted a longer option period, which actually buys you more time to sell your existing property.
Correct.
Then what I'm thinking is that because of you have already purchased and you do not want to incur on ABSD.
Yeah, ABSD is one of it.
Okay.
And the second part is the loan being reduced lah.
Yeah, because if you have an existing housing loan, if you are getting a second housing loan, your LTV actually reduced from 75 to 45%.
Correct.
Okay. So maybe you can share what was the difference when you talk to the banks as well as you talk to us.
Okay, the main difference is really about tailor-made package that you all have for me, because actually I plan to do decoupling on the property in a few years time. So that's why when I spoke to you all gave me the package that actually makes the most logical sense. Especially like definitely there's some lock-ins with certain package that does not make sense if I were to plan to do decoupling and all that. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can share in this process when we are engaging with you.
Correct.
We found out that you actually have a plan to do a decoupling later on, and you actually prefer flexibility in the event if you sell the property maybe in the next couple of years, right? Yeah.
Correct. Because like I understand that usually when there's a lock-in, there's a penalty.
Yes, that's right.
So just a little bit, I will share a bit about my previous unit itself. Because the first unit that I bought was directly, I took the loan with the bank. So that one actually have a cancellation fee.
Yes.
So that's why I started to see that actually there's a value add in terms of understanding the package correctly. So that's why at that time when I had the property itself, I had to pay about 2006 for the penalty itself.
So it's additional cost you need to incur. So if back then, if you have gotten a interest rate package whereby there's sales of waiver clause, then potentially you actually save another 2006. That's quite some money.
Correct. That's why I started to realize the value of having a mortgage broker to help me with this whole process itself.
Okay. What was the value at the point that we have given you comparing to talking to a bankers directly?
Okay, one of the main value add that you all had for me was that because the package that we at the end signed is not actually published on the website. It's actually there, but in a way nobody is sharing about that package directly from the bank. And because the thing is that I'm not sure exactly why, but they actually we signed a no lock-in package
Okay.
which is actually something that most banks don't have I think. That's why you at least share with me the reasons why, then we took the action from there.
Okay. So and you actually choose to decide that with a no lock-in was because also the consideration of the penalty fee later on
as well.
That in the event in the next couple of years you are doing a decoupling, you don't need to incur. So I think what we did for Randall was more on a tailor financing solution that actually fits to your need. Am I right to say that?
Yes, correct. To actually help us with the purchase more smoothly.
Okay. So what was your overall experience when you engaged KeyQuest?
So the overall experience was that the application process was smooth, and at least there's an advice telling me like which direction do I need to go. Because definitely there is multiple directions that getting a loan we can go for, but you tell me which one it makes the most sense, then we just execute straight away. Yeah.
Okay. So what's something you like to share with our audience that what's your most value takeaway when you engage KeyQuest Mortgage to assist you on your loan application process that you can share with our audience that it might help them if they are facing a certain roadblock or they prefer to talk to a mortgage broker over at KeyQuest versus talking to the banks?
I think one of the main thing, the value add that you have for me and my family was that actually the direction that we need to go and a tailor-made plan, because the thing is that every scenario is different. So I guess for your experience, it was really telling me like which direction is the most logical sense and which plan do I need to execute as well. And especially like if you are self-employed, you're also sharing with me like what kind of things, if you are looking at commercial loans, you also can help and explain to me as well. So that's why I'm very thankful for the value add that you have for me as well.
Okay. Thank you, Randall, for sharing your experience when you are engaging KeyQuest Mortgage as well. So Randall, if I were to turn back the clock, will you still want to engage a banker directly, or you would want to talk to us over at KeyQuest Mortgage?
So if I were to be able to turn back the clock, right, actually I would approach KeyQuest Mortgage to actually go through my own plan properly first before even the execution. Yeah, I think that's more important, especially like talking about the time saver. 真的是很，如果有早知道 I would have approached you earlier lah.
Okay, good to hear that, Randall. Okay, if you are self-employed and you're unsure that how much you are able to loan, because different banks has different criteria and there's a haircut on your income, please feel free to reach out to us. We will be more than happy to give you a non-obligation consultation to rest assured what is your loan eligibility amount if you are getting a property. Okay, once again, thank you, Randall, for joining us today and sharing with the audience on your experience.
Thank you very much for inviting me on the show. Yeah.
Okay,